The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, welcome everyone. My name is Leela Rhodes and I'll be your moderator today. Thank you so much for joining us here at Netcom Learning, a market leader in promoting lifelong learning, training, and talent development solutions. We are very excited to host today's webinar, Building the Ultimate Scalable Web Apps with Microsoft Azure. And presenting today's topic is Harsh Jangra. Harsh is a current Microsoft certified trainer with over 12 years of experience as a network specialist and trainer. Harsh has a vast expertise in networking, system domain, security domain, and infrastructure management services. He has also proved to encase an ability to lead, teach, and interact within all levels of an organization and provide quality customer service, improve processes, and collaborate with and troubleshoot and solve complex technical issues. Now, please bear in mind that this is just an overview of a very robust topic, but we do offer a collection of technical and business courses that can be tailored towards your specific needs. So if you're interested in any further discussion about those, you can make an appointment with our learning consultants through our website at www.netcomlearning.com at any time. And today's session is also being recorded. I want to let you guys know that you will get free access to the recording in the next 24 hours via email. Netcom Learning helps customers build innovative learning organizations by achieving a smarter workforce, adapting to change, and driving growth. We do this with a broad catalog of offerings, developing customized learning plans, and our global delivery capabilities. Since 1998, we have been empowering organizations with our managed learning services to help them reach optimal performance results and address challenges. Now, we have 9 practice areas in which we specialize, and they encompass people, process, and technology training. Today's presentation is from the application development practice area. Netcom Learning offers a comprehensive training portfolio for application development courses, and our upcoming classes include various trainings on Microsoft Azure security technologies, designing and implementing Microsoft DevOps solutions, Microsoft Azure fundamentals, and many more. And once again, we do offer private team trainings that is available, and the learning plans can be customized to the specific needs of your audience. You can also access a variety of application development marketing assets, such as the free 1-hour training, free on-demand training, and blogs by clicking on the available webinar handout. And these offerings can also be found with a simple search on our website at www.netcomlearning.com. In this webinar, we will learn about app scalability and why app scalability is important in supporting business growth. The webinar will not only talk about how Microsoft Azure helps in building business scalability web apps, but also tips and tricks on building web apps with Microsoft Azure. Now, I'm just going to give you a quick overview of the logistics before we get started today. To start with, you have the option to adjust the window size to your liking. You can simply hit the escape key and find the zoom button on the top left corner of your GoToWebinar viewer. Everyone has been muted except for our presenters, but you can feel free to submit any questions you have for the presenters in the questions panel, and we will address them at the end of the session today. Also, to get the best out of today's webinar, we have included the slides, courses we've talked about, and marketing assets in the handout section of your GoToWebinar viewer, so you can refer to them at any time to get a better understanding of today's topic. And now I'm going to go ahead and pass the time to the man of the hour, Harsh, to present today's topic. How are you doing today?
I'm very good. Thank you so much, Rita, for introducing me. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for taking the time to join us. You should be able to share your screen now. Wonderful.
Yep, absolutely. So hello, everyone. My name is Harsh Jangra, and just like Lita has actually mentioned a lot about me, but that's absolutely fine because today we are going to talk more on the building the ultimate business scalable web apps with Microsoft Azure. In today's world, everybody's like preparing their web applications straight on the on-premises in general, but slowly we are moving towards the Microsoft Cloud, or in fact any other clouds available. But why we need to choose Microsoft Cloud? Because there are 2 main reasons. First of all, as a developer, our job and our responsibility is to just build the application, just writing the codes and deploy for the organization. That's all. We don't want to take any of the pressure about thinking about like, okay, we have this infrastructure issues and we have these problems, how we can increase the infrastructure if our web application actually required. So guys, to avoid that kind of problems, that kind of issues in Microsoft Azure, Microsoft has given us a very, very easy way to deal with those kind of problems, especially if you are a developer. Because I have been working with many developers in the past where they have issues like, okay, I built this infrastructure, but I really need to consider more add-ons. For example, I like to increase more power on the CPU, more memory, more storage, all those kind of problems and issues we always get from the web developers, and we always need to spend some time. Until then, these web developers need to sit there and wait for us to fix the problem. That's how we hand-to-hand been working in the past. But once Microsoft has deployed Azure App Service, it's really come up with lots of advantages. And in this specific topic, we'll talk about Azure App Scalability. But obviously, I'll give you the brief idea that what is Azure App Service and how it is going to help you to build your web application straight in Microsoft Azure. And believe me, it's very easy. And also, if I get time, I'll try to show you where you can have to go and where you have to choose this option to create your web application, so that it will be pretty quick and the practical can give you more comfortable area that, okay, you have to go at exactly this place and you have to choose this option to move forward with your web application plans. So guys, here the agenda we have is first, the what is Azure App Scalability. The second we have is building mission critical web application using Azure App Scalability. Obviously, there are two options we have here. One is called scaled up and one we have actually scaled out. So we'll talk about those two features right in under Microsoft Azure App Service. And the third is there are a couple of tips and tricks, and during the time of creation of your Azure App Service, you need to apply these tips and tricks because it can help you to avoid any potential issue to your business critical applications. And in the end, we will arrange a quick question and answer session. And just like Leela mentioned, please do not consider this here. We are going to cover lots of things, but at least I'll give you the brief idea and of course touch base those points which is required you to understand about Microsoft Azure. Guys, just like I said, why we need Microsoft Azure App Service first. Obviously, as a developer, if you are working in the organization, and I'm not sure whether you get this chance to I had issues with the administrator, and you always keep asking, hey, I need this machine to build with this specific requirement, like CPUs, like RAM, like storage, because you are pretty much aware what you need to create, right? You are a developer, you know very much about your work. So when you raise your questions, the request goes to the administrator, and the administrator again raise this question to the stakeholders that, right, this guy really needs a physical machine and he's looking for this much power. Yeah, if you have this in your inventory, then that's fine. Otherwise, need to order a new one from the vendor. And then once you get the hardware machine from the vendor, then you start working. So that's the traditional way we used to handle these problems in the on-premises. So Microsoft Azure given this option directly to in the Microsoft Azure, because here you don't need to worry. You can just simply start with choosing your language, which language you like to perform, and simply implement your application straight under Azure App Service. Now, another advantage you will get here is I don't know how many of you have been working on a container. So if you, let's say if you have created a container and you uploaded that container to some third-party container services, for example, here is Docker as an example. So you can bring those container directly into the Azure App Service. And as soon as your app service is ready, then you just bring your codes, type in and start typing your code. And as soon as your code is ready, your Azure App Service is ready to use. But another challenge. Yeah, that's fine. You have created your application and you just want to try out. It is working. That's good. But what about later? That's the question. And that's why we are here to talk about Azure App Scalability, because might be you are getting some, you're getting noticed by the people, and people are coming to your web application. And if you have deployed in Microsoft Azure App Service, you have all the features to increase the scalability of that Azure App Service. So guys, here is all about the auto scaling on demands, because there are two options we need to choose, whether it is manual or maybe automatic. It's all up to you and maybe your consideration to deploy your application. The first thing I like to tell is you need to start with your language. Maybe you like to use .NET application. Maybe you like to use your like Node.js, JavaScript, maybe PHP, maybe Java, Python, HTML. And also, just like I said, maybe you built an application based on Linux operating system in a container. So don't worry, guys. You can bring those container directly attached to Azure App Service, and it helps you to run your application straight away in Microsoft Azure. And the good thing about the Azure App Service is Microsoft Azure allows you to use a public IP address which has been dedicatedly assigned to your application. And the good thing about this is you can also use your custom domain name using Azure App Service. Maybe you don't want to use Microsoft desired domain name, so you can just go ahead and choose the domain you want. And again, this kind of feasibility previously we never had, and now you have all this power in your hand if you are using Azure App Services. Now let's talk more about the scalability. So guys, just like I said, there are two possibilities we have in Microsoft Azure App Service in terms of scalability. Number one, scaled up. Now, during the creation of your Azure App Service, you can perform your scaled up option, because here you are very much know that, okay, this application may require that much power from the virtual machines or maybe from Microsoft virtual environment. And according to that, you can just assign your Azure App plans, because there are three kind of plans available right under Azure App Service. One is called free, which is dev and test, because these free and dev and test is fine for a small medium business organization, but not good for the enterprise ones, because they don't want to have a limitation on access or use their VM resources or consider a part of Microsoft Azure resources. You are definitely want to use all the time, want to check, maybe you got some bugs, maybe you want to analyze what is going on. And if we increase the power of power of that virtual machine, or according to the CPU, the hardware, you can imagine and deploy your Azure web application. That's the first step, where we are going to choose what kind of size, what kind of power we need. And just like I said, we have three options. One is dev test. Second is called production, because in the production, you will have even better performance from the hardware of the Azure. The third one is called isolated. Now, this isolated is created for, let's say, for the very confidential data, or for confidential web application. Maybe you're working in some of the government organization and you don't want to share that information with Microsoft or in fact anybody else, then you better choose isolated. It gives you all the isolated environment and nobody else allowed to check or use your Azure App Service. That's the first advantage of using scaled up service using Azure scalability. The second is all about scaled out. As you can see right below, we have a screenshot, and here you have two options: manual scale and custom auto scale. In both ways, guys, you are able to manage your application easily. If you choose manual scaling, the manual scaling can allow you to choose, or of course, setting your instances manually. Whereas if you go to custom auto scale, now you just need to mention, I want to increase based on my demands. If the user's been increased and they like to hit my website or my web application, let's say right now 1,000 people are working, so I need just one instances. Maybe you are very much curious that what happened if more than 10 million people will directly hit your web application. So guys, custom auto scale gives you those feasibility and the power to choose your right instances. Maybe you choose here 20 instances. Now, what will happen if the user increase more than 1,000? Now, maybe you require 2 instances instead of 1. Then custom auto scale will adjust the power of the Microsoft Azure, this hardware behind the scene, the virtual CPU, the memory, and all the storages, and it increase and decrease based on your customer responses on your web application. So that's the advantage of using scaled up and scale up. I want to show you, and this is the guys, the scalability tips. Just like I said, while you are actually creating your Azure app services, please choose Azure scaled up settings correctly. Settings in the sense, choose the right plan for your web application, because it could be a possibility that if you choose a very low instances and a very low powered instances, then maybe your application, web application got stuck. So that's the first tip. The second thing is, please configure your auto scaling efficiently and properly, because you are very much in power and you are very much aware that what application you have been created and you are expecting how much hit on your web application. So accordingly, you improve your availability, because Microsoft claimed that Azure App Services is going to be available with 99.999% SLA, which is a great way for any of the developer or any of the organization who is planning to deploy their application straight in Microsoft Azure. And of course, if you like to mention about based on, for example, metrics, that here you can set it correctly, and you need to choose the right one there, because let's say you want to set your CPU up to 75%, and you choose at the moment one instance is for your web application, and you mention if my website got hit a lot by the people and my CPU utilization goes up to 75%, then it starts creating a new instance. Yes, guys, you can do those things, memory, HTTP request, and we have a couple of more metrics which you can configure under Azure App Services scalability option. The other way I like to tell you is, and don't forget to choose a right, I want to repeat this again because we always made these mistakes during the scalability. We never mentioned the right instances for our web application. So please continue monitoring your traffic coming to your web application and increase, because we can also later increase or decrease this instances information inside Microsoft App Services. But if you choose auto scaling, then you don't need to touch. You just need to configure maximum instances should be available up to example 20 or 30, and then automatically Microsoft Azure analyze based on your metrics that, okay, now it has to create 2 or 3 or 4 instances to provide the great performance to all of your users who is coming to your web application. So guys, this is pretty easy, and right now, thank you. But before to leave this session, I'd like to show you something quickly here. If I go to my application, which is right here, let me bring my big screen here, and I have created one web application because I want to give you a quick view about this application. Creation of web application, just like you very much aware, just choose the right plan, and then just next, and your application is going to be created. But after creation of your application, the first step, you need to go down below here in the scaled up. And just like I mentioned, you have 3 kind of plans: dev test, production, and isolated. So please choose the right one. Obviously, it will show you how much money is going to charge you. That's the first thing. And based on your selection and of course your features that you're looking for, and you just need to move ahead and go for the deployment. The last thing, after you set up your plan correctly, then just come back to this scaled out option under app service plan. And guys, here you get more advantages if you choose custom, because I always like to configure the custom auto scaling instead of manual scaling, because it gives us more power to manage our web application on demands. So here I'm going to set the maximum limitation for the instances is 20. Right now my SKU is not supporting that much, but let me try with 10. 10 is good. Yeah, that's fine. So accordingly, minimum should be 1, but maybe my web application is quite heavy and I like to start with 2. So that's what you need to choose. And of course, here you need to start with 2. That's the right one. And guys, here's a rule based on the metric rule. On the right hand side, you can select that which rule you like to choose, and of course how you like to move forward. For example, I like to choose with the average for CPU performance or percentage for maybe 75, or I mean you can set by your own 75%, for example. And if it goes to up to 75%, then it will automatically create a new instance for you, and that's how it is keep increasing the scalability. Guys, the flexibility and the scalability in Azure App Services is really, really great. And the people I have known for, they have running more than 1,000 applications, and they are very much happy with the performance because it got never lagged, never ever got any issue, and pretty easy to manage and deploy. And one last thing before to end up this quick session, from my side, on the technical side, we have this logs information. Right now, I have not clicked saved. The good thing about this log is it can give you the very much deep level knowledge about what exactly is happening on your web application, because in the logs, it's called log analytics setting, and it required a huge database to save, because whenever people try to hit the application, so you need to find out what exactly is going on, why you need auto scaling, if you need to provide those information, and what happened during the during particular time. So all those logs, and if your web application crashed, why it crashed. So all those combined features you can get under Azure App Services. But scalability is a top-notch services provided by Microsoft, because it never fails and it always works. So guys, just in a quick time, thank you so much. That to be all from my side. Leela, hand over to you.
Thank you so much. Okay, that is awesome. Let's make sure Mary's with us. I don't see her with us just yet. And usually she goes over some information with us. She is our director of vendor and product, and she introduces the promotions and webinar related courses. We got through the content a lot faster than normal. Mary, are you with us? I think I see her joining us right now. If that is that you, Mary?
Hello, Leela.
Just hello, in time.
Hello,
happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday. Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and pass the presenter rights over to you. Mary's going to introduce some promotions and webinar related courses. She's a busy woman, that is for sure.
But I'm just glad that I was invited here. I always look forward to, being part of the webinars. And while you're submitting your questions, just want to direct you to some of the important information you may want to check out on our website. Again, this is Netcom Learning's website. And under our Microsoft page, you can see here a lot of resources that can help you look and see how can you progress in your learning, in your Microsoft learning. So we have here a role-based certification path, and it looks small, so let me zoom in. And what I just want to direct your attention to is for Microsoft, they have this complete learning plan wherein you can always start from the fundamentals. I do understand that this webinar are for intermediate or advanced users, but if in your company you would be needing a learning plan to start from the fundamentals, you can see here that for every solution area, you can see different courses starting from fundamentals. And as you go up, you can see here that, one of the courses that we would like to recommend is you have your Azure IoT Developer Specialty. For you folks who may have SAP workloads, definitely. And this is one new class that Microsoft just recently introduced, the AZ140. And if, for example, the beauty of the Microsoft certification is you can definitely see what role is attributed to it. So if you are a developer, take the Azure Developer Associate, or an admin, or you want to go up and be DevOps, definitely that is something that like this one, the AZ400. It's something that we encourage, as well as if you go, I really would like you to look into this, share it with your team, because it also touches on 365, Microsoft M365, D365 Power Platform. And recently, Microsoft added security courses available. So again, starting with fundamentals and then going up on different roles here. Also, let me just go back to our website. There are different resources that you can check out here on the pages, and you can also see the different courses, not just for Azure, but for the other Microsoft courses as well. It's grouped according to solution area. So you have your apps and infra, data and AI, modern workplace, business apps, security, and compliance. Now, if you are looking for schedules, definitely, we have classes running, and in fact, even, some other time zones. If you have companies located outside the US, we do have that as well. And then going back, some promotions, certainly, would love to invite you to see what are the different promotions that we're running. There's some free training available. Netcom offers not just Microsoft, but other areas such as, we have AWS, we have Cisco, we have Google, PMI, ITIL. So there's a, full gamut of courses that you can take advantage, as well as, both virtual instructor led, as well as e-learning available. Anyway, Leela, let me not take away the time for Q&A. Thanks so much for giving me the time. I know that there's a lot probably that has questions for our speaker.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us, Mary. I know you are a busy lady. Okay, we will go ahead and jump right back into those questions. And I just need to share my screen real quick so you guys are seeing the right thing. All right. So let's see. The first question it looks like we have is, in Azure App Scale Out scenario, how many instances can we create?
It is completely depends on, thanks Leela. It is completely depends on guys on which actually the scaled up option you choose. Because if you choose more higher version of, for example, if you go to the production, you can find multiple choices right there. So maximum Microsoft actually provide up to 200, but not more than that.
Wonderful. I feel like 200 is a lot.
Is a lot. Actually, it's a lot. And with the more power and more CPU, because as soon as we start increasing the instances, it keep adding more power, the hardware power to those capacity of the instances. So it's really, really wonderful. And I think we do not find that much big application yet. But indeed, it's a part of if the organization is planning to move forward with more instances, then yeah, Microsoft does provide those information silently, but because I think according to my information with the Microsoft support, we can increase even go beyond than 200 as well. But officially in the documentation, they just mention 200 only.
That's some great behind the scenes insight too, though. Let's see. Our next question we have is, how many plans can we have in Azure App Scale Up scenario?
Means how many instances we can create, right?
Yeah, how many plans, how many instances, I assume?
If there is instances, I give exactly the same answers already, that according to the Microsoft documentation, 200 is fine, but we can go more than or beyond that 200 as well with the help of Microsoft support. But they just need to verify where exactly you created your app service plan, because it is up to the capacity of the data center. So we need to talk with the Microsoft support for that. And if they said we have the capacity in the data center, then we can go beyond up to 200 as well. So it's based on the requirement.
So I think the difference was scale up instead of scale out. Does that make a difference?
No, it makes a difference because scaled up and scaled out, they are two different concepts. Scaled up is all about that you can choose your the primary hardware, like to start with your web applications. You like to build and you like to deploy those applications, because you are very much aware that how much power you need initially to start with. But the good thing is you can later change the power. If you, let's say, if you want to increase or if you want to decrease, you simply go to the scaled up option and change that. Scaled out for those applications which has been implemented, and now we are using the maximum power from scaled up, but we still need more power to receive those, because we we deploy the application inside Microsoft Azure, we can expect more and more requests from the clients. And maybe one day you are very much popular, more than 10 million, 20 million, 30 million requests is coming out. In that scenario, the scale up, which is by default available from Microsoft, might not work for you. In that scenario, you need to choose a scaled out option where you can add more instances to that exact hardware you have already chosen during the time of creation of app service. So both are two different things. Scaled out means you can add more instances for later use, and based on demands, it goes up and down. If it is currently, let's say we are working with a one instance, so it's absolutely fine. But automatically, if let's say we hit more requests from the customers or from the clients or from the users, then these instances go automatically up to 2, 3, 4, 5 based on demands. And now after a few hours, let's say 1 hour, 2 hour, we feel that users been decreased, then automatically auto scale option automatically decrease this power to back to the instance number 1. So that's how it automatically works right under Microsoft Azure App Service.
That is a great explanation. Thank you so much. Let's see. Let's get to our next question. So what is the name of the Azure App Service plan?
There's no name. Once you start creating Azure App Service, this web application, during the time of creation, it will show you that you need to choose the right Azure App Service plans. And by default, Microsoft given us 3 plans. One is called Dev and Test, which means it's a kind of free or very low like pricing for Dev and Test, but it has a very limitation right there that you can use the compute power for, let's say, 60 minutes or 240 minutes or maybe 120 minutes, not more than that in a day. But obviously, if you're working in the enterprise organization, so you better choose the production one. Why? Because you have all the power, all the compute power is available for you. Otherwise, in Dev and Test, Microsoft is suggesting to choose shared resources. And definitely, I don't want you may are looking for shared resources. But yeah, if you are trying to perform any test, then it's okay. Dev test is fine. But if you are planning to implement a solution in Microsoft Azure App Service, then better go with the production plan. The last plan we have is called isolated plan. This isolated plan is specifically created for very secret organizations or the government bodies or entities where they don't want to allow to access anybody else inside those applications before to drop, or maybe they just want to run within their organization. Then isolated option is available for those important or confidential data or application they are running into Microsoft Azure App Service.
Thank you so much. Okay, it looks like we have one more question. If we don't get any more questions after that, we will go ahead and wrap up. The last question I'm seeing right now is, what coding languages are supported by Azure App Services to build web applications?
Means what kind of languages, right?
Coding languages, yeah.
Coding languages, yes, correct. Most likely, it does support .NET. .NET have variations. .NET 5, 3, all been supported. Python has been supported. Ruby has been supported. Java has been supported. Node.js been also supported. And of course, if you have built your, for example, any other programming language, you can simply build into your container. And once you build that container, you can take that container and add into app service, and it just works like your web application direct. So in case you do not find your preferred language inside the supportive, then supportive one, then don't worry guys, you please go to the Docker web application, or even in Microsoft, they also have container services. You just create your container services, whatever the language you like to use, and build that container and add that container into the Azure App Service. And there you can go and move ahead with your plans, and your web application is ready to use immediately. It doesn't matter whether you create it on Linux platform or Windows platform. Both has been supported from the container end.
Are you there?
Yep, I'm here.
Oh, sorry, it clipped out for a second. I'm not sure if it was you or me. We missed the last, or I missed the last part of that answer.
Oh, okay. I'll do one thing in a short.
Matter.
Okay. All right.
I heard up to where you said it doesn't matter if you have, and then it went out. Do you mind repeating that?
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I was trying to say. So I want to repeat the same answers again, guys. So currently, Microsoft Azure App Service does support .NET, Java, Node.js, Ruby, Python, all these languages. But if you are planning to use any other language, then don't worry. Simply come to Microsoft Azure and you create your own container. And if you don't want to come to Microsoft Azure just to create a container, then you can also go to the third-party containers like Docker, the containers services, and simply create your language and create a web application into the container file, and you can take that container file and attach to Azure App Service, which can help you to build your application and running successfully right there in Azure App Service.
Wonderful. Well, it does not look like we have any more questions in our queue at this point. So we just want to thank you for joining us and spending time doing this webinar. I know we all have busy lives and busy schedules. We are going to go ahead and launch a poll now to find out how many people might be interested in taking some additional training. In addition to the webinar we hosted today, we have a lot of informative webinars coming up. So please go to www.netcomlearning.com/webinars/ to register for any of those. And we want to thank everyone for joining us today. If you do come up with any additional questions, you can feel free to send them to us at webinar@netcomlearning.com at any time. And we hope that you all found today's webinar informative. We really look forward to seeing you back here with us very soon. Also, feel free to tell your friends and colleagues about our upcoming webinars and other courses. Once again, thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining us and have a wonderful day.
Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.